A dangerous weather pattern is developing across the United States with the potential for powerful tornadoes, flash flooding, and destructive thunderstorms. Today's precipitation map shows that most of the central United States remains relatively dry, with only isolated light showers developing over parts of the Midwest. A band of rain is moving across portions of the Northeast, especially from New York toward northern New England, where periods of moderate to locally heavy rainfall are possible. Along the southeast coast, including parts of Florida, scattered coastal showers continue, but widespread heavy rainfall is not expected today. Across the southwest, only a few isolated showers are visible near the mountains, while much of California, Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico stay dry. The southern plains, including Texas and Oklahoma, also remain mostly rain-free through today, with limited precipitation activity. Overall, today's rainfall is concentrated mainly in the Northeast, with lighter and more isolated showers elsewhere across the United States. However, over the next 3 days, weather conditions could become much more active. Forecast guidance suggests the potential for a stronger storm system, capable of producing widespread heavy rain, flash flooding, and dangerous thunderstorms across multiple regions. Localized flooding may develop quickly where repeated rounds of rain occur. Residents across the United States should continue monitoring the latest forecasts, remain alert for changing precipitation patterns, and be prepared if heavy rainfall and flooding threats increase during the coming days. Today's wind map shows generally light to moderate wind conditions across much of the United States. The strongest winds are found around the Great Lakes, where parts of the Chicago region are experiencing wind speeds near 41 kilometers per hour, making it the windiest area on today's map. Across the Northeast, including Washington, New York, and nearby states, winds are ranging from around 26 to 34 kilometers per hour, creating breezy conditions, but remaining manageable for most outdoor activities. In the southern plains, Dallas is seeing winds near 26 kilometers per hour, while Houston is closer to 21 kilometers per hour with a steady southerly breeze. Florida continues with lighter winds around 18 kilometers per hour, and much of the southeast remains under gentle to moderate airflow. Across the western United States, winds are generally lighter, although stronger breezes continue along portions of the Pacific coast. Overall, today's wind pattern is not showing widespread damaging conditions across the country. However, during the next 3 days, a much stronger weather system could develop, bringing the potential for powerful wind gusts, damaging straight-line winds, and dangerous storm conditions across several regions of the United States. Wind speeds could increase rapidly, creating hazardous travel conditions and the possibility of downed trees and power outages. Everyone should continue monitoring forecast updates and stay prepared if stronger winds begin developing. Today's temperature map shows a clear contrast across the United States. The hottest conditions are centered across the southern plains and the southeast. Dallas is reaching around 35 degrees Celsius, while Houston is also near 35 degrees Celsius, making Texas one of the hottest regions today. Atlanta is close to 35 degrees Celsius, and Tampa is also around 35 degrees Celsius, with hot and humid conditions continuing across much of the Gulf Coast. Moving northward, temperatures become more comfortable. Chicago is near 24 degrees Celsius, Minneapolis is around 25 degrees Celsius, Washington is close to 28 degrees Celsius, and New York is sitting near 26 degrees Celsius, providing warm but less intense summer conditions. Across the western United States, temperatures are more moderate, with Los Angeles near 22 degrees Celsius, Salt Lake City around 27 degrees Celsius, and Seattle remaining much cooler near 17 degrees Celsius. Overall, today's highest temperatures are focused across the southern half of the country, while northern states experience more seasonable conditions. However, during the next 3 days, a much stronger heat pattern could develop across several parts of the United States. Temperatures may climb even higher, increasing the risk of dangerous heat, heat-related illnesses, and stressful conditions for outdoor activities. Residents should stay hydrated, limit prolonged time in direct sunlight during the hottest part of the day, and continue monitoring updated temperature forecasts as the potential for more extreme heat increases. Today's humidity pattern across the United States shows a noticeable contrast between the western and eastern regions. The Southwest, including parts of Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and inland California, is experiencing much drier air with lower humidity levels, creating a hot but relatively dry atmosphere. Across the Central Plains and much of the Midwest, humidity is gradually increasing, making conditions feel warmer and more uncomfortable during the afternoon. The Gulf Coast continues to experience the highest moisture levels, with very humid air extending across Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and into Florida. The Southeast also remains muggy, while the Mid-Atlantic and parts of the Northeast are seeing moderate humidity that may increase as moisture moves northward. Overall, today's humidity favors sticky conditions across the southern half of the country, while much of the western United States stays considerably drier. Looking ahead over the next 3 days, there is a growing concern that deep Gulf moisture could spread farther inland, dramatically increasing humidity across parts of the south and central United States. If this moisture combines with unstable weather patterns, conditions could become favorable for dangerous thunderstorms, torrential rainfall, flash flooding, and isolated tornadoes. Residents should closely monitor local forecasts because rapidly increasing humidity often provides the fuel needed for severe weather outbreaks. Staying weather aware during the next several days will be especially important across the southern and central United States. Today's pressure pattern across the United States shows a broad area of lower pressure stretching from the Great Lakes through the Mid-Atlantic and much of the eastern U.S., while slightly higher pressure remains across the Rockies and parts of the West. The strongest low pressure on this map is centered near the northeast, where values are close to 1002, 1007 megabytes, compared with higher pressure around 1012, 1017 megabytes across the western states. This pressure difference supports a more active weather pattern over the eastern half of the country, while the western states remain under relatively steadier atmospheric conditions. Across the Central Plains and the Mississippi Valley, pressure is fairly balanced near 1010, 1013 megabytes, creating a transition zone between the higher pressure in the west and lower pressure in the east. Along the Gulf Coast, pressure values remain near 1012, 1014 megabytes, indicating a fairly stable setup at this time. Overall, today's pressure pattern suggests the greatest atmospheric changes are focused from the Great Lakes toward the northeast, where pressure remains comparatively lower. Looking ahead to the next 3 days, there is a possibility that pressure gradients could strengthen across parts of the eastern United States. If that happens, a much more dangerous weather setup could develop, increasing the potential for powerful storms, damaging winds, and rapidly changing conditions. Residents across the eastern half of the country should continue monitoring the latest pressure trends and stay prepared for significant weather changes if the pressure pattern becomes more intense.